Near the end of Prague, Tom tells Greg about a sexual encounter in which fellatio was performed on him, and as a closing touch, he was compelled to swallow his load. This conversation immediately follows Tom's account. He thinks there is a term for it and that it is hot, even though his semen is exactly as delectable as a fried songbird. This must be the time of his life because this is a bachelor party for the type of wealthy man Tom hopes to be. The distinction between Tom and Greg is this: Greg could honestly state that he would prefer a peaceful evening at home, perhaps warming up some leftover Cajun linguine from California Pizza Kitchen, because he is not so status obsessed. But this is what success tastes like to Tom. The Succession episode Prague embodies one of the program's core charms and is about as purely enjoyable as we're likely to see. Watching a show about dreadful rich men luxuriating in anything their limitless wealth can buy them would be unpleasant. Succession is bearable because the characters can all attend a covert gathering, a fucking sandpit for emergent behavior, and not one of them enjoys themselves. It can be comforting to see the adage money doesn't buy happiness verified in works of art, and for individuals like the Roy family to participate in the suffering caused by their empire. However, it's not that easy. Even while it's entertaining to see this nightmare all-nighter play out, the Roy siblings' abuse at the hands of their father is not given much attention. Roman's discussion of the childhood game in which his big brother Kendall put him in a dog cage, possibly with a leash attached, and forced him to eat out of a bowl in order to escape serves as the story's pivotal point. Roman is stuck in that cage, devastated and frail despite his fake swagger, appearing to be unaffected by his father's demeaning evaluation of his economic skills and to be sexually unclean. When Connor informs Kendall that Logan encouraged this conduct as a means of disciplining the weaker dog, something in Kendall's mind changes. Kendall still has doubts about the veracity of his brother's account. He doesn't want to work for himself in several businesses or accept Stewie's offer of a $500 million buyout. He seeks a more comprehensive form of retaliation, even if it means joining forces with Sandy and Stewie, two of the guys who have wronged him. While the bachelor party continues, Shiv is out accompanying her new candidate, Gil, to speeches and news conferences, suggesting that he perhaps could irritate his supporters a little more and put the family business on hold. Gil is unsurprisingly attacked by an interviewer who won't allow him stray from the subject of his wife's suicide 18 months prior when he enters the ATN Lion's Den itself. Gil immediately brings up the fact that Logan's only daughter works for him when he finally escapes this rhetorical chokehold and attacks Logan, which should say something about her father. Shiv's name is more valuable to Gil than any political consulting abilities she may possess, which seem limited given that she views electing a liberal in New York as a victory. It cuts both ways, of course. Shiv abhors Gil's political views. She views class conflict as jejune since it poses a financial risk, and the entire political consulting industry is focused on tactics rather than ideology, which is why the opposites act as of two operators with everything in common make up the attraction story between James Carville and Mary Madeline. Shiv expresses her disappointment at her father's decision to offer Kendall and Roman the opportunity over her in this talk with Logan. The covert dialogue here is about Shiv using her disobedience to gain access to the Waystar table while feigning regret, and talking about bringing her into the fold. When those talks fall through, Logan responds by declining to attend Shiv and Marsha's wedding, citing health reasons. At the same party where money can't buy happiness, it also can't purchase clever art projects. Kendall doesn't like to think of himself as a member of the stuffy, evil Roy family, therefore he's prepared to spend money to get cool things like Voltaire and Now Dust, a store that sells the works of independent artists. So earlier that day, he turned up the volume on DJ Shadow, put on a glaringly costly new pair of designer sneakers, and introduced himself as a potential investor to Dust's boss, Andrea. Outside of the absolutizing open nice earrings, White Bauhaus, I really like what you do. Kendall was probably right when he stated plainly what Dust does. Basically, you purchase a painting from some art student in a basement, jack up the price, sell it to some Morgan Stanley sex pest, and you, me, and the student all get rich. I'm thinking of the phrase, fucking delicious chili sauce, right? At the party, however, he learns that Andrea thought him disgusting and compared being in a relationship with him to being Mrs. Hitler. Kendall commands Frank to spread the rumor that the Dust ladies are sluts and addicts shooting seed capital up their arms for the crime of not finding him a mellow chap who belongs in her world of coke-snorting hipsters. After consuming so many lines of cocaine, Greg, the person in charge of taking care of him, snorts 4 lines like a soldier dodging a bomb. Tom's response to Greg's unexpected binge is excellent. Greg inquires as to whether he should throw up, to which Tom responds, "Not unless you can puke out your entire bloodstream. Everyone dislikes the Coke. People are there to have a good time at this kind of gathering. Shame on the Fly Guys for traveling all the way from Minnesota but failing to make it to Tom's bachelor celebration. They certainly anticipated drinking and going out with their old friend Tom, and they undoubtedly understood how to treat Roman to the time of his life better than Roman did. But in Prague, Tom abandons his old life, breaking the rules established by the Fly Guy. He opts for a pitch-black tunnel instead.